Hello there. So it finally happened. I managed to achieve my short-term, long-term goal, and I achieved the rating of 2000 on Lichess Rapid controls. And if you have been watching my channel, you know that I was at the time very far from that goal, and but I just kept working. I was consistently following my method, or about I speak on this channel all the time, and well, the result finally came. So as of today, I have achieved a new peak in the Lichess Rapid rating. So let me show you this improvement. How does it look like? So this is my profile, obviously, and you can see my rating now is just above 2000, and you can see that only, I don't know how much this was, like maybe 8 months ago, 8 or 7 months ago, I was like 1600, 1637. So this was my let's say starting point. At this was the point in which I seriously started to play Rapid and to analyze my games. And of course I have my daily routine, so all the time I was working on my chess every day, doing tactics, reading books, and so on, all the things I am talking about my channel. So you can see how my progress went. So I got up the momentum, and then at some point I went to 1800. There is a video I will link. I recorded a video at this point because I was very proud of myself to come to 1800. Then I continued to go on. Then I had some bad days. I fell several times below 1800, and then I started to rise. Here I was very close to 1900, but then again it was a decline. Then again rise, decline, rise, decline. Again very close, but then decline, and then finally I hit 1900. It was here, and at this moment I recorded the video because obviously I was very proud of my achievement. And then I went on. So I just went on playing, analyzing, doing tactics, reading books, going through master games, all the stuff I'm recommending, and you can see my progress here. And now I have reached this threshold of 2000 rating points on Rapid. So like I said, this was my one of my major goals to achieve, to get to this psychological threshold of 2000 in the Rapid stats. Of course, my long-term goal, so my final goal, let's say like this, that is to be 2000 on FIDE rating. So this would mean that I should be maybe 2300 on Rapid. So this is my final goal, which I hope to achieve sometimes in life. But for now on, this is a very good indicator for me that my method works, that stuff I have researched, I have read about how to improve as an adult actually give results. So I wanted to share this with you. Obviously, this is the whole point of my channel, is to share stuff like this and to tell you, okay, if you want to get better, here is how to get better, and here is how I got better, and this is the proof that the method works and that you can really become better player if you just culture good chess habits, work every day, forget about openings, focus on tactics, learn from master games your strategical ideas, and you'll be fine. And so I don't want to make this video too short, so I want to show you the game, my last Rapid game, which just took me over the edge. I think it was a very interesting, very instructive game. And also you can see I will try to demonstrate, by going through this game, I will try to demonstrate how did I achieve to come to this level and to this kind of play. So let me switch to the game and I will show you the game. Okay, so in this game I played as black, and you can see that my opponent is also a very high rated player. So the game started with him opening with d4. I responded d5, he played c4, I went for Queen's Gambit decline e6, and now he played bishop f4. And now this is the first lesson I want to tell you on, I mean it's not a lesson, it's advice on improvement. So like I always say, don't study openings, forget about openings, don't study lines, variations, theoretical variations. If you are on this level like I am or lower, it really doesn't matter. If you spend lots of time learning variations and learning the best critical lines, well, most likely you will never meet these critical lines in your games because your opponents on this level that don't play critical lines, they don't know theory. So many of the stuff you learn you will just forget. And anyway, it's if you're an adult, you most likely have other obligations in life. You have job, you have family, or whatever other hobbies, interests. So you don't have infinite time for chess. So you need to maximize your time. And by learning opening theory is not something which will give you results as some other things which will give you results if you put, for example, 1 hour a day at them. So my advice is you have to focus on your pattern recognition, on your tactics, on your calculation skills, and you also need to learn about strategic ideas by studying master games or some good books, like for example Simple Chess or I don't know, Arthur Yusupo books, whatever books dealing with strategy. So in this game, at this moment, I was out of theory. So I know, well, usual stuff in Queen's Gambit decline is something like this. So I just open my knight, he pins, I unpin. So this far I know. I know this from experience. I know it's a very basic first five moves. So this is something I know. When he plays bishop f4, like here, I don't know what to do. I know some ideas if he plays London with this bishop, but this is not really London because this pawn is on c4. So I know some ideas. So at this moment, okay, he went away. So at this moment, I have to rely on my chess principles and common sense. So what does common sense tell you here? Just develop your knight. This knight should be developed here. It's the only logical move. Knight c3. Okay, he develops. What now? If this knight is here and this bishop is here, usually these two pieces aim at c7. I know this from experience. I know because I used to play London and similar setups. So this is what he wants to do. So usually you want to prevent him for coming to b5. How can you do this? You can do this by playing either a6, which doesn't contribute much to the center. So you have to always think about playing in the center, controlling the center. So this move doesn't contribute to center. But so the other way to stop to control b5 is to play c6, and this move does contribute to the center. So I played c6. So you can see the logic. So I didn't learn the repertoire and okay, I know if he plays knight c3 I should play c6. I play c6. Maybe this is not the best move. Maybe it is. I didn't check the engine nor the book. I'm not interested in this right now. So maybe this is the best move. Maybe it's not the best move. Maybe some other move is the best. But who cares? I mean, this cannot be a bad move. It denies b5 and it fortifies the center. So what's wrong with that? Okay, knight f3. He developed. Now it's my turn to develop. I want to castle, basic chess principle, king safety. So I want to develop this bishop. I can do several things. I can develop it on either square. I was thinking about maybe I decided to develop on b4. So this is pinning the knight, and I was thinking if he attacks, I can go here, and then neutralize his bishop here. This was my plan. Maybe not the best plan, but it's okay. Another option was just to play bishop to d6, trying to exchange these bishops. But then knight can have here and it can get complicated. So I think this is as good as move as any. So bishop b4. Pinning. He plays e3. Okay, logical move. I castle. Again, just logical move. a3. Now he goes after my bishop. I retreat, he goes after my bishop again, and I go to bishop c7. Now I'm neutralizing this bishop, because I think that this bishop is his strong bishop. Yes, this is also my good bishop, because my pawns are on the light square. This one is obviously a bad bishop. The bishop on c8, this is a good bishop, but his bishop is also good. It is on the same squares as his pawns, but it's outside the pawn chain. So the bishop is bad. The usual formula is the bishop is bad if it's on the same squares as your center pawns. So this is on the dark squares and the center pawns on the dark squares. But with the exception that if the bishop is outside the pawn chain, then you have to rethink about just applying this formula. So my feeling in this position is that this bishop is strong, and I want to neutralize his action over this diagonal. Okay, so you can see all these concepts are something I may have picked up from the master games, or I just read in the books. So I'm just applying the things I have read, I have heard somewhere or seen somewhere in my work. Maybe some conclusions are wrong, and of course this is as I improve, this should be better and better. So all this idea, controlling the center, taking up the b5 square, counter, neutralizing this bishop on this diagonal. So these are all common ideas. And you can see I have castled, I made some development, not ideally, but okay. Bishop to g3. Now he's using this London idea, so he wants to go to g3, and now he's hoping that I will take his bishop, and then he can take it with the h pawn. And now he has open attack, so he's hoping to attack with all his pieces on my king. So he has rook obviously opened. He can bring very easy his bishop to attack. He can bring his knight to attack. Then he can bring his queen, either here or here after the knight moves. Then either he can long castle and then bring his rook to the attack. So you can see that there are many attacking ideas. And although the engine, if you run the engine doesn't see anything problematic with bishop takes g3, but I do, because I don't want to be exposed to this kind of attacks. So he was hoping that I will take this his bishop, but I didn't. So I was delaying this kind of stuff. Okay, so instead of this, I played the developing move, knight bd7. You can notice that my bishop on c1 is not developed, and in this kind of openings, when your light squares, when your pawns are the light squares, this comes from Slav, semi-Slav, Queen's Gambit decline, reverse London, and so on. You have usually you have the problem with this bishop, and this is okay. This is not something to be panicked about, because this bishop will find its way in the game later. So also this is, for example, one piece of information which I get by watching videos, reading books, and so on, that in this kind of openings you don't need to panic because your bishop is not developed, nor is it wise to just develop it just for the sake of development. So just move it somewhere and to think that you are developing the bishop. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So knight b to d7. Queen c2. I'm not sure about the intention of this move. I guess he wanted to make some pressure. Okay, so what to do in this position? Well, just keep on developing and look for pawn breaks. Now, when your pieces are developed or nearly developed, you have to start thinking about what possible pawn breaks they have in the position. So this c5 is not very likely because he has discovered. So e5 is possible pawn break in the future. I don't plan to play it immediately, but this is something I should be looking at. So rook to e8 is generally speaking move. So you're centralizing your rook, but also with this idea of this pawn break. He played c takes d5 here, so for some reason he decided to release this tension. I'm not sure that this is good way of thinking, but okay, c takes d5, and now I don't have this pawn break, but I do have e takes d5, and now we come to the Karlsbad structure. So I recognize this is the Karlsbad structure. I don't have a huge amount of knowledge about how to play this structure, but I know few things, and one of the things I know is that this e4 square is ideal for black pieces. So all my play from this moment is about this e4 square and putting a piece on e4 square at the right moment. So this is what I know. What else do I know about Karlsbad? That you should not change the position very easily, so you don't have to rush to play something like c5 or some other breaking moves, because this structure can allow you to remaneuver your pieces, so that you can be very satisfied with your pieces, and then you can try for a break move. So these are just some very vague ideas I have about Kaspar's structure, but I know something. Okay, bishop d3. Now he's pressuring this. I just play h6. So this is the best defense. This is also the pattern I have seen. I have experienced that the best defense when he's trying to pressure your pawn is just to move your pawn. Especially when you have knight who can jump into attack and join the attack on h7. Or you have a bishop, for example, you can have bishop here or anywhere. So this h6 move is a thematic defense against this kind of battery. Of course, this knight prevents this check, but even if this knight wasn't here, I don't have to worry about him capturing my pawn. I can just move my king. Sorry. Okay, so I played h6, and now he played knight to e2, immediately giving me the e4 square, because this knight was controlling e4 square. And like I said, the idea of Carlsbad is to put your piece on e4. This is some general idea. So I played knight to e4 because I can. He took the knight, and now I can take with the pawn or with the rook. I took with the rook here. And this decision was based on strategical principle that I want to have my piece on e4. But this was a bad move because it fails to tactical considerations. So, of course, tactics always has precedence over positional considerations. So, if the move is good positionally, you need still to check the tactics. And if it fails tactically, then, well, it's not a good move. It doesn't matter. It's positionally sound. So this move was played on the positional considerations, and I missed the tactics, which my opponent also missed. But the tactics was, you can see this idea. I saw this earlier. I saw this. In fact, I will show you which moment I saw this. I think it was. Yeah, it was here. So when I was thinking, I was just very briefly thinking, should I capture with this or this or this? Okay, so I don't want to capture with the knight because you can see that this pawn is actually pinned. Way of pinned, because if I take with this pawn, then he can move. After he moves this knight, he's attacking my bishop twice. So there can be some tactical tricks, like for example, he could take. Okay, I can take back. Anyway, I'm not trying to calculate now the tactics, but you can see this. This is not very pleasant. So this is why I decided here to take with my other pawn. And now, after I took with the rook, he had this opportunity. So just to take this bishop, I have to take back, and now he can just play knight c3, hitting my rook and my pawn, which now cannot be moved. So after I retreat my rook, he can just take the pawn. I cannot take the knight because this queen is hanging. Okay. So rook takes e4 fails because of this stuff. Okay. So this is tactically unsound move, and I should have known better, and I should have calculated this. How could I have calculated this and see this opportunity, see this sequence is, well, I just need to be aware that this pawn is pinned. And I was aware at one moment, then I forgot. So if this pawn is pinned, then I should think about all this stuff. So, but based on the strategical considerations, this move is okay. If there was not for these tactics, I think taking with the rook is the right way to go. So, knight to d2, now he's hitting my rook. I bring my rook back, he castles. And now you can see that all this time I kept this tension. I didn't want to take this bishop because I didn't want him to grab with his h-pawn and open the attack here. But once he castled, now there is no reason why I shouldn't exchange this powerful bishop of his with my bishop. So I took the bishop because now I'm no longer afraid he doesn't have rook. I'm no longer afraid of this attack. Okay, he took. Now I need to improve my pieces again. I just moved the knight on the natural square, eyeing for e4. So e4 is constantly the idea. So knight f6, knight f4. Now he played the knight. He wants to come closer to my position. Maybe he wants to remaneuver the knight like this. And I played g5 here. Now this has I did think quite a lot before making this move, because this forces your opponent to play the move he wanted to play anyway. So whenever you threat a piece and he needs to move the piece, but he was intending to move this piece anyway, this maybe is not the best choice. But I have calculated a few lines here, and I realized that it doesn't matter if he does this, because after he moves his knight here, I can just finally develop my bishop with a pin. So this was my consideration. So I was thinking, yes, if I play g5, he'll go to d3, and he wants to go to d3, but actually knight d3 is not such a great move, because it allows me bishop f5, so developing the bishop with threat, with pin, and so on. Because at this moment I cannot develop bishop here, because this square is hit by the queen. But when he moves the knight, then I can. So this is what happened. Knight d3, and now I develop my bishop, pinning his knight, and now I have finally developed my bishop and completed my development. This is move 19. This is usually how it goes in this kind of openings. You wait until move 15 to 20 to finally develop your bishop. It's okay. So queen to b3, going out to the pin, queen to c7. Now I'm making pressure on this pawn, so he cannot move this pawn, because he cannot move the f pawn, because he will lose the g pawn. So this is the motivation. The drawback of this move is that he now has rook to c1, pinning again my pawn, allowing maybe some b5 plans. So maybe I didn't think about this enough. Maybe this was the better way to go. Again with the same threat, but I don't have this thing. Okay. So this is maybe a lesson for me in the game. So don't expose yourself to pins if you can avoid it. If you can achieve the same thing by playing a different move. So maybe this was an improvement. Okay. He played knight e5. Now he wants to, of course, to centralize his knight, and he also knows that the Carlsbad structure is about making outposts for your pieces. And now I played the knight to d7, and this is the move I'm not satisfied with, but I just didn't know what to do better, and I'm not great on time, so I just want to kick it away. Every time you make a move with your piece which is backward, you should stop and think, is this really necessary? So this would be kind of forward move, which does the same thing. So maybe there are better moves than this. This move just looks ugly. But like I said, I didn't know what better to do in this position, so I just played this move. Knight d to f3. Now he wants to permanently have his knight on e5. I exchanged once, and then I played f6. So now I'm taking away this e5 square. He has to go away. So I'm satisfied how things ended up here. Knight to f3. He has to retreat. So at this moment I'm looking at the attack along the h-file. I think this is called fishbowl attack, or fishbowl is something similar to this. Anyway, this is another thing which, by my experience of playing, of reading books, of watching quality YouTube videos, I just know about this idea. So this idea to explore h-file with my double rooks, that didn't occur to me just in this game, but this is the idea I knew from before, and I managed to apply this. And this is always so. So you have many ideas you pick up reading books, watching videos, analyzing your own games, but it's not easy to apply these ideas in the game, because you have many ideas, and it takes time and experience that these ideas come to your mind at the right moment. So at this moment, this idea occurred to me, and I went for the execution. So king to g7. This move, first of all, gets me out of this pin. You don't want to have your king pinned in any case. And second of all, okay, it defends these pawns, but it's not so important. The important thing is that it allows my rook to go in the attack. Knight to d2. And now I went for h5, so I want to open the h-file. Queen to d1, attacking my pawn and trying to defend, I think. So rook to h8, so I'm continuing with my plan. f4 now. Okay, so he's trying to undermine my pawn structure here, but I have a very nice move. This is just g4. Now I'm closing the position, so the position around my king is closed, and now he cannot prevent me opening the the h file. So this is very convenient for me. Knight to b3. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. My sense would be that he tries to bring his pieces to the defense, not away from the king. So he probably goes for something like this, but the action is on the king side, so maybe this was not the best decision. Queen to e7. So according to the engine, this is the waste of time. I should just go to the run for the attack on the h file, but I thought it is nice to seize the opportunity when I can play this move with the tempo. So this attacks the pawn, and you can see that if this pawn is captured, also double attacks the knight. So I wanted to move my queen from this idea, and this is the chance I do it with tempo. So this is why I did it. Maybe if I had more time, I had only 2 minutes. If I had more time, I could have calculated that this is much more important, and it doesn't matter what he does on the queen side as long as I have this attack. But okay, queen e7, queen d2, defending the pawn, and now I just start pushing the h pawn, so h4, g takes h4, rook takes h4, and rook f2, and this is I think a huge blunder, because the escape square for his king is f2. So for example, imagine if I can deliver check here, he can escape only by the means of f2, and now he shuts the f2, and I don't see really any purpose of this rook here. I mean, what does this rook do here? Protecting this pawn doesn't matter, it's not even attacked. Maybe he thought that I will attack this pawn, or he thought that he could push this pawn and then try to force the exchange. Probably it was this, yes. Probably he thought that he can push the pawn and then play rook h2, and then this rook is protected twice, and he can neutralize my attack on the h file. This is probably the idea, but I just continue rook a to h8. Now he plays g3, yes, following his idea, but unfortunately this is now just mate in 2. If you don't see mate in 2, pause the video for a second and try to find the mate in 2. It's very simple. Okay, so if you pause the video and found the mate, great. If not, this is the mate. So it's just rook h1 check. The only legal move is king g2, and is king rook 8 to h2 is checkmate. Okay, so this was the game, and I think you can see what kind of game is played on this level, and what things are important. So the important thing is to understand your position and some of your basic plans. So this is a Carlsbad structure. The only thing I knew is e4, and this only one idea is enough to give you a good game, because now you have a plan, you know what to do, you try to organize all your pieces in order to achieve this goal, putting a piece on e4, and in general you want to follow general chess principles. So you want to develop your pieces, get your king to safety, play for the center, keep your pieces active, and this is and just get experience. So you should analyze master games, so to pick up the ideas from master games, or watch some high quality YouTube streamers to see how they play chess. And I recommend maybe John Bartholomew, Andras Stott, and Dan Heisman. I think these three are great, because they play principled, solid chess. So they don't play just to go to some wild gambit and win using different tactical tricks, but they really try to stick to the principles and to the solid chess. So watch these kind of videos, and please don't study openings. You can see in this game and in all of my games, I'm usually out of the book by the move 4 or 5. In this game I was out of the book on move 3. It really doesn't matter. So just stick to your principles, play common sense check, and then do post-mortem, do your analysis, see what you have done better in the openings, in the middle game, in the end game, if there is an end game. So this is how you learn to play chess, so game by game, move by move. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel. You can always leave the comment below. I encourage you to do so. Also, if you want, you can check out in the description. I have the Patreon site if you want me to analyze your games on the channel and to give you advice while I analyze your games. You can join my Patreon site, and you can contact me. I have you can find my Lichess profile, my email. So please get in touch, and I will see you very soon with more chess. Cheers.